The ancient old AFL rivals will meet for the 107th time in the regular season on Sunday when the Raiders make their annual trek to Arrowhead, an annual trek that has been most successful. They have won 5 straight years there, dating back to 2007. Welcome to our Silver and Black show. Greg Papa joined as always by the 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback of the Raiders, Jim Plunkett. And this is a big week for the Raiders and the Chiefs, Jim. Raiders come in with a record of 2-4. Kansas City off their bye week, trying to get back in the AFC West after losing 5 of their first 6 games.
No, you're right about that. It really behooves the Raiders to go out there and play a good game against the Kansas City Chiefs and come away with a victory. They're, despite being 2-4, they're only 1 game back of the leaders, Denver and San Diego. Last time the Raiders were in Kansas City was last year on Christmas Eve, and they came away with an overtime victory, 16-13. Sebastian Janikowski nailed a 36-yard field goal, and that's propelled the Raiders into the new year, Jim. They have 2 wins this year, and they have both been boot-offs, if you will. Janikowski, very late in the Pittsburgh game, will nail a 43-yarder. And last week against Jacksonville in overtime, he splits the uprights from 40 yards out, and the Raiders win 26-23. Yeah, and if you look at games overall statistically, many of these games are decided by a touchdown or less, and so that's where the field goal kicker comes in very, very handy, and we certainly have one of the best in Sebastian Janikowski. Janikowski was one of the heroes last week, to be sure, but there were many as the Raiders had to rally back a couple of times. They were down 20-6 in the third quarter. They were down 23-13 with 12:40 to play in the game, Jim, but Carson Palmer just willed this team to a victory. In the second half, he jumped into the no huddle. He took a lot of shots and made a lot of big throws down the field. Yeah, I was really surprised at the kind of pass rush that Jacksonville was able to put on Carson Palmer and the Raiders, but they adjusted a lot of that in the second half, came up with big plays. And I tell you, Carson Palmer's a war veteran, so to speak, and he just stands there, takes the shelling, and continues to find his receivers open down the field, moves around a little bit, not a great deal, but just enough to give him a little bit more time to find his open receivers down the field. He was 26 of 46 last Sunday for 298 yards. He has now thrown for over 200 yards in 12 straight games, a Raider franchise record. Another touchdown pass to Denarius Moore as he dives in here. That's 2 weeks in a row that Demo got into the end zone. He had a 59-yarder down the sideline to Darius Hayward-Bay earlier in the game. Some big throws to Rod Streeter, but it looks like his favorite target in crunch time is the tight end Brandon Myers, who came up with big catches in the fourth quarter, Jim, and had a career high with a 7-catch day. Yeah, Brandon Myers really becoming a force for this Raiders offense. He's a clutch receiver in tough situations. He's able to make that catch that keeps the momentum going for the Raiders. And a lot of the times it's long yardage situations where Brandon Myers really becomes a factor. And I keep repeating this, and I say this all the time, tight ends are invaluable, and Brandon really is becoming that way. Carson Palmer and the Raider offense was able to come back from the 2-touchdown deficit because of the play of the Raider defense, Jim. From midway through the second quarter through the end of the game, the Raiders completely stuffed the Jaguars offense. Yeah, they certainly did. They had a little trouble early in the game. Maurice Jones-Drew went out early, second play of the game, actually. Still, because of the turnovers of the Raiders on offense and special teams, that hurt the Raiders, put the Raiders in a hole, but the Raiders stuck to it defensively, kept coming after Blaine Gabbert and then Chad Henne, and they just put so much pressure on them. Just completely shut down the offense of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 3 quarterback sacks on the day. Miles Burris comes free for his first sack in the NFL. Richard Seymour had a big one here in overtime, but the hero of the game on defense was Lamar Houston, Jim. We'll get down to the 4-point stance here, come back inside to pick up the quarterback sack, but he had the play of the game in overtime on the wide receiver Cecil Shorts here with a punch out and the recovery by Ocelio Johansson. Time to bring in Janikowski and win the game. Yeah, once again, a great defensive effort by the Raiders. As you mentioned, Lamar Houston just all over the field, just got a motor that won't quit, and he's making big plays left and right for the Raiders defense. A little later on the Silver Black Show, we're going to talk to the Raider head coach Dennis Allen about the play of number 99. It was a base defensive end and then slides inside of the nickel and heats up the quarterback. But when we come back on the Silver and Black Show, we're going to meet Lamar Houston. Jeanette Thompson will be in conversation with the AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
And he throws short, good catch by Shorts. Hit by Houston, fumbled the ball. The ball's free on the 20-yard line. Oh, the Raiders have the ball. Janikowski, he nails it. Oakland wins in overtime.
He is off to a great start these first 6 games in his 3rd NFL season, and last week he was voted the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. Let's head over to Studio B, Jeanette Thompson with Lamar.
Thanks, Jim and Greg. With me, I have Lamar Houston. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Peachy. Well, congratulations to you, AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a blessing.
It is. Well, you know, not too bad of a job in the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Walk me through that game.
I think it was just the start of the second half. You know, we're coming out, we're down 14 or however many points, and we're trying to get back in the game, and we're really battling. So, you know, we all kind of buckled up and settled down and played some ball.
Tell us about the play that set up the fumble and the field goal for Sebastian Janikowski.
Well, you know, we're always coached to come out of the stack, and we do a good job of working that during the week in our turnover drills with Tarver and Coach T. So, you know, I was just doing what we practice and coming out stack in the fourth quarter, trying to get a big strip, and it happened. So I was very excited about that, and I'm glad my teammates were there to recover.
One player on defense, Michael Huff, mentioned the fact that you may not come up on the stats all the time, but if you watch the film, you'll see Lamar Houston is always where the ball is located. How does that feel to get the affirmation of your teammates of the type of player you are?
It feels great, you know, to know that you've been putting in work with these guys and they recognize it and they notice it. And, you know, I just thank my teammates for always being encouraging to me and keeping me going.
Now you've got another defensive player that's been added to the roster, Andre Carter. How has he made a difference both on the field and in the classroom with the defensive unit?
I think he's just another huge key for us young guys in the D-line room. We got Richard Seymour, Tom Kelly, and now we have Andre Carter who can help us coach us up at the end positions, and I think he's doing a great job. His knowledge on the game is exponential, and he's really helped improve these last couple of weeks.
Let's talk about stopping the run. That's something that has been a challenge for the Raiders, but it looks like the defense has met that challenge the last couple of games.
Well, we want to stop the run first. It's always our goal as a defense, try and make an offense one-dimensional. So anytime we get out, we want to stop the run. And then these last couple of games we've had huge backs with Turner and Drew, Maurice Jones-Drew, and now we're facing old college buddy of mine, Jamal Charles. We want to contain him and stop the run to make that offense one-dimensional and make our defense successful.
Now, you've got to do a lot of game planning for each team that you come up against. Quarterback Brady Quinn, he's not someone that you get to see as much film on, I guess I want to say. How do you plan for that type of quarterback?
He's had a little bit of a rough road, but he's still a good quarterback. He's a first-round draft pick, and the capability's there, and you never know, it could spark that Sunday. So we got to go in with the same intensity as if you're playing a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning. So we're going to try and pressure him and just rattle him in the cage a little bit and play some ball.
Once you get that first sack, are you hungry for more, or has that hunger always been there?
You know, the hunger for a sack, you know, never lose that. But once you get that first one, you know you should be able to get that second one. And you're always fighting to get it. So it's fun. It's a numbers game, but it's a game that everybody loves to play.
Now, we can't ignore the obvious. The hair color is unique to you. I think you are the only player on this team that has the blonde streak, if you will. What inspired you?
You know, it's just something different. My wife was nervous to dye hair, so I told her I'd dye my hair, and, you know, it wouldn't be any worse if I did mine and she did hers, and this is actually what turned out, and I just kept it. Ended up liking it.
Well, I also noticed you've got Thor here on your shirt. Big comic book fan, cartoon as well?
Huge cartoon fan. Thor, you know, is one of the best superheroes out there. Probably one of the other only superheroes who can't die. He's just great. I love him. He's a Viking. He's tough. He's manly. He's, you know, physical. All that stuff incorporated in one. So it's one of my favorite superheroes. Our
defense, it's slowly evolving, I think. How do you see the defense? What type of unit do we have out there?
I think we got a fast-hitting physical defense who's going to play smart in tough situations and play up to the challenge. And I think we're setting our bar high every week, and we're going to meet those standards, and we're just going to keep on plugging away.
Thank you, Jeanette. When we come back on the Silver and Black Show, Jim Plunkett in conversation with Raider head coach Dennis Allen.
It's a division game, so they're coming off the bye week, so they had a little extra time to prepare some new stuff, and it's going to be a good game.
It's an in-division game. It's a big-time rivalry. It means a lot to that city, so their fans will be ready for us. It's not going to be nice and quiet and easy.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Jim Plunkett along with head coach Dennis Allen. And, Coach, congratulations on a great come-from-behind victory last week. And the team had to fight back in that second half, down 17-6. Tell us what you told the team at halftime to help that turnaround get started.
Well, I mean, there was, obviously some motivational speaking that went on specifically to the offense, right. But really to the whole team. We just understood that, it was time for us to come together as a team, to execute, to eliminate the mental mistakes that we had in the first half. And, we felt like that if we eliminated the mistakes, that we'd have an opportunity to play better, an opportunity to get back in the game, and that's exactly what we did. It's really a testament to those guys in the locker room, the way they fought back and they continued to believe, no matter how bleak it might have looked.
I agree with that entirely. Second half got a big play in the overtime. Lamar Houston strips the ball. It's recovered by the Raiders, and they go on to kick the field goal. I consider with that, among many other plays during the course of the year, actually, that kind of called hustle plays. Somebody hustles after the ball, it's on the ground, you fight and go get it.
That's the standard that we're looking for, because I believe this. I believe that if you play with great effort, you've got a chance to overcome a lot of different obstacles. So that's one of the things that we preach. Our guys are doing a better job every week of maximizing their effort, and I think we're beginning to see some of the results of that.
The last 2 weeks, great against the rush. What do you attribute to that?
Well, I think it's guys just coming together and understanding how to play together, understanding how teams are trying to attack us, and I think our front four and our linebackers have done a really nice job of being able to fit up the run and understand exactly where everybody's going to be within the run front.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention Lamar Houston, named Defensive Player of the Week. How's he progressed during the course of the year?
Oh, he's done a great job. He's continued to get better every week. He's one of those guys that plays with a lot of effort and plays and makes a lot of those hustle plays. So he'll continue to get better if he continues to work the way he works.
You come back out in the second half, go no huddle. What kind of problems does that present for the defense?
It limits the package of what the defense can do at times. Specifically if you go with an up-tempo no huddle situation. So that's something that we've had in our offense. We've used it at times. Right. At times been very successful. Other times it hadn't given us a spark that we would have hoped. So we'll continue to do it, and I think it's a good weapon for us. I think our quarterback does an outstanding job of operating within that system, and it'll be a weapon that we'll continue to carry with us.
You talked about winning the battle up front after the game. What do you need to do offensively in particular to give Carson Palmer more protection? Because it's going to be a long season if he continues to take those kinds of hits, number one. And number two, to get Darren McFadden and the rest of that running game going.
Well, the continuity within the offensive line has got to get better. We've had some moving parts in there, but we're beginning to get some guys that have played multiple games at the same position. And so I expect to see progress moving forward. There's some times that, we've got to do some things to help them out, keep some extra guys in protection, and so those are different things that we can do to try to help the offensive line out some. But those guys are continuing to work. We've had a great week of practice this week, and so we're anxious to get back out on the field and prove that we're better than the performance that we had up front last week.
Kansas City coming off a bye, an extra week to prepare for you. How much of an advantage is that for a team coming off a bye week?
Well, I think some teams handle it differently, so it kind of remains to be seen how they handled the bye. But obviously it was a good thing for us. We were able to kind of look at ourselves and get a little bit refreshed, overall the performance has been better. So we'll see how they react to it. Obviously we'll see a few different looks from them, something that they haven't shown us. So we got to be ready to react to some sort of unscouted look, something we hadn't seen before.
Okay, you're going up a quarterback who you're a little familiar with, had him at Denver a little bit, Brady Quinn. What do you think you have to do to corral Brady and put pressure on Quinn?
Well, I think the first thing is we've got to be able to take the run game away from him. That's probably a quarterback that's getting his second start, in the last 2 weeks. So, being able to stop the running game and corral the running game will be one of our primary focuses. And then once we get him into a passing game, we've got to provide some different looks and different coverages so he can't zero in and know exactly what we're in and make him have to figure things out on the run.
Sure. He's probably a little rusty as well, so hopefully that'll go in the Raiders' favor. Jamal Charles leading the league in rushing and yards per game as well. Difficult guy to corral in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's, he's not only a speed back, but he also runs with some power and some toughness. They're running the zone blocking scheme, and I think they do a really nice job up front of blocking for him, and he does a nice job of finding the cuts and making some big runs for him. So that's one of the things that they do extremely well.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us on the Silver and Black Show. Good luck.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
The most important play of your life. Your enshrinement in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Stabler now sends Branch left, Biletnikoff to the right. Back again, straight drop back, pumps once. He goes medium deep to Casper. Casper makes it over the shoulder catch. He's caught from behind at the 15-yard line.
I was a tight end from 1974 through 6 games in 1980, and then through the 84 season in Los Angeles.
It's an honor to now introduce him for induction to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Dave Casper.
Most of the memories we have about the Raiders are winning, and winning in Raiders style.
The ball slipped forward is loose. A wild scramble. 2 seconds on the clock. Casper grabbing the ball. The Oakland Raiders have scored.
Al Davis built a great organization that allowed me to be part of it. You're always going to do better when you're on a great team. And so what he built around and choosing me to be on that team made me a success.
The Ghost was inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2002. He was a Raider draft pick in 1974, actually played tackle at Notre Dame, but he ran that famous Ghost to the post in the great Christmas Eve game of '77, the 42-yarder over the shoulder to force overtime, and then he had the game winner in the second overtime. And a guy that was a teammate of yours for a while, Dave Casper.
Yeah, he certainly was. A phenomenal player, a tight end, a big loping kind of guy. He still looked like a tackle when he was playing tight end, but he certainly had the best set of hands in the league. Undoubtedly, he found a way to get open, and he got down the field, as you mentioned, goes to the post, and such a big man to be able to do the things that he did. But he was fun to play with. Sometimes it was hard to find him open, but he always managed to catch the ball when you threw it to him.
Dave Casper, one of the great Raiders of all time. All right, Jim, this Sunday the Raiders are in Arrowhead, Kansas City, Missouri for their annual trek to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Raiders are 2-4. The Chiefs are struggling. They are 1-5. They're coming in off their bye week. They were ravaged by injuries last year. Jamal Charles early in the year tore his anterior cruciate ligament. He's back this year, and he's the guy the Raiders have to worry about. They will feed him the ball often. He leads the NFL in rushing yards per game and scrimmage yards per game.
Yeah, he's a very difficult guy to bring down. He gets in the open field, and he makes you miss when he's back there. The Raiders have got to find a way to slow down that running game and force Brady Quinn to be the guy that's going to help them win the football game. So it behooves the Raiders to slow the running game down, come after Brady Quinn, make him make the mistakes. He's been on the bench for a long time, played last week against Tampa, was not very effective. And that's what happens sometimes when you're on the bench for years. I would know. And it's you get a little rusty. So I think it's all about putting pressure on Brady Quinn.
And over on the other side, this is still a very talented defense. They have Eric Berry back, the great safety, and those 2 outside linebackers in the 3-4. Justin Houston has 6 quarterback sacks, and Tamba Ali has 4 sacks. So the Raiders need to protect Carson Palmer, which was somewhat of a problem last week against Jacksonville.
It certainly was. Not only in Jacksonville's basic 4-man rush, when they brought blitzes, the Raiders had difficulty in picking that up. So, yeah, they've got to protect Carson for a number of reasons. One of them is for him to be able to get the ball off. And number 2, it's a long season. You can't continue to take the hits that he took against Jacksonville and expect to survive. Hopefully you will, but it's tough going out there when you get hit game after game.
All right, that's going to be my key to the game, is blocking those 2 outside linebackers, trying to play with the lead in Arrowhead where it's so loud, obviously, but they got to be able to keep number 3 upright. What's your key to a Raider victory next week?
Well, mine is the defense, to put the pressure on Brady Quinn, make him win the game for the Kansas City Chiefs, and, I don't think he'll be able to do that.
Stop number 25 and make Brady Quinn, who the last game made his first start since 2009, beat you. Obviously, it's a huge game for the Raiders. After this game, they're back home to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jim, if they win this game, they could really distance themselves from the Chiefs and make it a three-team race in the AFC West.
Yeah, you're right, Papa. They're only trailing by one game. Both San Diego and Denver get a win here. It'll put them right back in the hunt, and as you mentioned, leave Kansas City in the dust.
Let's keep the winning streak going. The Raiders have not lost in Kansas City since 2006. They've won their 5 consecutive years. After this game, the Raiders come back home to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Make sure to get your Raider tickets and join us next Sunday for the first game in November. 1-800-RAIDERS and Raiders.com, and we'll see you at the O.co Coliseum next week. Many thanks to Lamar Houston, the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, for his visit with Jeanette, and Jim Plunkett's weekly chat with Raider head coach Dennis Allen. I think you are set. Enjoy it. It'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. The Raiders at Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs.
This has been a presentation on the Team of the Decades presented by Silver and Black Productions.